We didn't talk about Attack on Titan until July of 2019. Or July 20. Yeah, wow.
Because we started the pod in
That's 4 years ago.
That's still forever. Yeah, that's a wild.
I mean,
This is how long ago when the season 3 finale. This is the other things that were out around that time.
Dinosaurs.
Trump.
Godzilla, King of Monsters.
Well, there you go. Yeah,
Great
dinosaurs.
movie.
Chernobyl.
great show.
Toy Story 4.
Horrible.
Spider-Man Far From Home. Not the third one, the second one with Tom Holland.
Oh, overrated.
Welcome to Was It Good, the podcast that reviews movies and TV shows. Today we're talking Attack on Titan, the finale. I'm Ravi, joined by my two brothers,
Krishna.
Arjuna.
and our producer.
Mike O.
And we are Was It Good?
But what's your name, sir?
What?
I don't think you said your name.
Oh, his name is Armin.
Actually, do you ever say your name on these things? I just realized. Maybe you don't.
He did. He said,
totally
I'm your
did.
host.
Oh,
Whatever.
thank God.
He starts the...
I'm sorry. Were you
He
having
doesn't
a
listen.
little...
He's not listening.
Wait,
It's like when we were watching Attack on Titan.
I'm stuck in the past.
Oh my God.
I want to
I mean, the
make
future
fun
or
of
the
him,
past?
but now that he's brought it up, I am also like, wait, did Ravi
Ravi
introduce
goes,
himself?
welcome to Was It Good?
I'm
the
Ravi
podcast where we
Rangata.
talk about movies and TV shows.
I'm not
Today
sure
we're
he
talking about
mentioned
Attack
his
on
name in
Titan, the
this,
finale. I'm Ravi, joined by my two
Yeah,
brothers.
I'm
Yeah,
Ravi,
we
joined by
get
two
together,
brothers, yeah.
Arjuna. And our producer, Michael.
Michael.
And then we
Right.
go, and
Good.
we are Was It Good? So we just did the whole thing again.
Well, you did the whole thing.
Do you
again.
think we're in a rut?
We'll see on the replay.
I mean, to be fair, this is the third one that we've done in a row, so.
How dare you
What do you
give
say?
away our
I've
company
worn
secrets?
3 different pairs of glasses.
You have implemented the perfect green screen, and I am here forever now.
Yeah.
Yeah, until next week's episode. Or not.
Yeah, where the green screen runs out.
Yeah,
The green
broke.
screen run. Okay.
We spilled something on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got massive stains, so we're like, oh, I can't wash that out.
Green stain.
There you go. Before we get into one-word impressions, revisiting our bold predictions, seeing who was completely wrong, completely right, let's just talk about the emotional gut punch that we're all feeling. Because this is the finale of Attack on Titan. Arjuna, at the start, was saying, I don't know if this is going to be the end, and thank God it was the end. But, like, it's done. Like, we are wrapping up 10 years of Attack on Titan, the anime. Obviously, we didn't get into it right in 2013 per se, but how are you all feeling? Because this is a part of your life that is over.
You just said gut punch?
Mhm.
Yeah, that I think that's a perfect word or phrase to sum up how I'm feeling. Gut punch. Ugh. Breathless. Yeah. It's the end of a long road, and I'm sorry to bring it up for the 5th time tonight. This is the longest I've spent in a fictional world, or the most time I've spent in a fictional world. More than anything I've read, any games I've played, any other shows I've watched, or movie franchises. I've spent more time in this series, Attack on Titan, than any other.
Well, wait, including like a Lord of the Rings or a Star Wars?
Yeah, because I'm factoring all the times I've spent thinking about it, podcasting about it, rewatching it. By far, I think I've spent more time talking, thinking, and watching Attack on Titan than any other franchise. And so for it to come to an end was always going to be gut punching for me. But the way the finale played out, wow.
Wow. Fuck me.
Fuck me. Fuck me. Indeed.
What? Whoa, no.
Gut punch.
Gut punch. Juna, how are you doing?
For me, I mean, this actually kind of ties into my one-word impression. If I can reveal that, or we're just going with the...
No, go for it. What's your word?
So my one-word impression is going to be relief. I feel like relief that the show is finally over, right? And I know we've talked about it a lot on this podcast with the final season and how many times they kind of cut it up into part 1, part 2, part 2B, 3, 3B, 3C, final season, episode, final X. So it's just kind of nice to be at the conclusion of the story, right? For me at least. And I enjoyed the story, but I was ready for it to end. I was ready for it to end years ago. When we were first introduced to season 4, the final season. So yeah, relief. Relief is my one-word impression.
You just want to see? Do you want to see a Titan War forever for the rest of your
No,
life?
I want it's it's a heavy story, so it's nice to come to an end of that, and I felt relief, being free of Attack on Titan a little bit.
That's wild. That's interesting.
Relief.
How did you feel?
I mean, I think it's gonna be a minute before I can really kind of process. Just because, again, we've done a lot of pods and setting up today, so I'm just kind of in the motions right now.
Yes.
As opposed to, I mean, the motions instead of in the emotions.
Emotional damage.
So I mean, I'll roll into my one word impression too, and I would say it would probably be content.
Oh yeah.
And it speaks on many levels because it's content in the sense that, you know, there are something like, I just had it on IMDb. Let me pull it up real quick. When you look at IMDb, for example, it tells you like how many episodes or whatever of something there is. This is saying 98 episodes, including like the individual episodes for each season and then all the specials for season 4 to wrap everything up. Comes to a total of 98 episodes.
Because like there's 3 chapters in this final 1 hour, like 1.5 hours. So I guess those are 3 individual episodes.
That's what my guess is. I mean, I'm not going to figure out and break it down, but so 98 episodes right there. We've done a number of podcasts on this. We've done a number of like clips on this. The world at large has reacted to Attack on Titan. I've been lucky enough to go and see a freaking musical on this thing, you know, based on
In Japan.
You know, Attack on Titan is one of its big pillars, just like a lot of various animes, is the music. And I would imagine that now that everything is wrapped, there will be like a touring or orchestral group or whatever doing a whole like listen to the music while watching certain scenes and hearing the stuff. So like, there's still more Attack on Titan to come in my mind, where it's going to be just various forms of content. So it's not over yet. I don't think there's new story. I think there's just going to be you, if you want to, kind of reliving it and seeing it through a different lens, if you will. So it'll never end.
Yeah. So here's the thing, right?
Nothing. I mean, it's the thing of story. It never has to truly end, right?
Correct. Yeah.
You can always revisit it.
But to Arjuna's point, I don't care about content. Don't care. As long as there's no more story, there's no more stuff you need to tune into. Like, we're in an age where everyone is looking to continue stories forever because there's no more originality. We just got to rehash. We got to sequels and prequels and blah, 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 blah. It would be nice to have, here's a story, it's done. I don't care about content. We can have musicals. We can have specials. We can have toys. Don't give a fuck. No more episodes. No more movies. Like, just if we end it here, please, yes, relief. No more.
Is this your PSA?
Yeah, sure. I mean, Marvel, Star Wars, please, just end it.
They're Western companies.
I know.
They'll never listen to
Yes,
that reasoning.
but they should. But yeah.
What's your one word impression then?
It was going to be devastating, but I'm going to move it to processing. Yeah. And then you used the word process.
Sure.
And I think that is actually perfect. Processing. Just saw this last episode and still processing, still downloading. Yeah. There was a lot in there. It was 90 minutes. We got more Titan fighting in this episode than a lot of other Titan fighting combined. It occurred to me that a lot of the Titan fighting in the first 3 seasons is actually very brief. We get a lot more ODM stuff than Titan fighting. The Titan fighting is almost held back in the first 98% of this Attack on Titan anime. And in this last 90-minute, close to 90-minute special, it felt like half of it was the Titan fighting. And they really did save a lot of that for this. So that's like one of the things that I'm still processing, because they did change the formula quite a bit, it felt like, in this last episode. And so you've got to reconcile that with the first 98% of the story you've been shown and the way it's been shown. So processing, downloading,
So
What's also sorry. What's also like with the special and everything was kind of fascinating. I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but like Japan is doing a lot around this show. There's an entire weekend into the following next week of specials, events, Q&As, live streams. Like there's like 3 or 4 days worth more of people like talking about this. As opposed to just this like thing to like end it. They're doing like actual live panel, like, and we can tune like I have like you have Crunchyroll, right? Like
I do,
I think Crunchyroll will be streaming some of that stuff along with Hulu.
It's a cultural phenomenon. It's like when
Big
Game
time.
of Thrones ended, you know? Like that was like another big cultural phenomenon for a lot of people. And I think Attack on Titan clearly had like a pretty big audience, right?
Is it trending on Twitter? I didn't even look.
Completely international.
It has been trending on Twitter most of today.
Yeah.
More so than the WWE Crown Royale.
What the
Crown
fuck?
Royale.
What the fuck?
Oh yeah, it's number 4 right now on trending.
But our one sentence one word impression sentence would be processing content relief.
Wait, one more
Oh
time.
man, that's so perfect.
Processing content relief.
You know what I find interesting is Ravi's word content is if you don't know what he's meaning, it could also be content.
That's true.
Ooh.
Processing content
Are you
relief.
content?
I don't know if I'm content with this, to be honest.
No, that
You guys are really
hence-
like
hence
in the middle right now.
processing. Hence processing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Right. Yeah.
again, we talked about this with our previous podcast, Invincible Season 2 premiere. So much time had passed between Season 1 and Season 2 that Season 2 opener needed to do a lot for me to, like, care.
Oh,
And
interesting,
again,
yeah.
Attack on Titan, to a degree, is suffering to, like, the same way. Like, the last special was back in March. That was
That's
8
right. I watched
months
it in
ago.
Denver.
Yeah.
You.
That was 8
Well, you'd already seen it, but I watched it.
Yeah, so that was 8 months ago.
Yeah.
And that special, like, that special was okay, but it was not anything.
That special was great.
It was
I
great,
love that special.
but it wasn't.
I love
like,
Attack on Titan.
But the way it ended, like the fact, how it ended, like they got there and then you didn't know when the next thing was coming, was one of those things where it's like, great, thanks, thanks for
See
doing
you next
that.
year.
Yeah.
Thanks for nothing.
It's
I mean,
Thankfully,
thankfully,
animals.
thankfully we didn't have to wait till next year, but
Yeah.
still,
But
it
we
was-
almost had to wait like a full pregnancy, essentially.
Yeah. No, you're right. You know. Are you trying to tell us something?
Guys, I'm preggers.
Oh. Well, you heard it here.
Yeah,
on
we did have
First,
like fast food last night, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's get into kind of like the bigger like breakdown talking points here. So, you know, the big one is for I don't know how you I don't know if you say this is good, I don't know if you say this is bad, but like they stopped the rumbling, right? They stopped the thing that Mappa hired a band to make a music video and a song about. They stopped that.
Rumbling.
So they stopped that, and then, you know, the main character, Eren Yeager, he does die at the hands of Mikasa. Is that something you expected, didn't expect?
I felt like that was the only way it could go, right? Like it just felt like there had been so much done by Eren in the last season plus that you're like, what ending did he actually live, right? That's a satisfying conclusion. Maybe there is something out there that can satisfy, but I didn't see how he could come back. They'd be like, because like the thing that is still laughable to me as they go into this battle is like Mikasa and Armin are both convinced they're like, we can end this and we can save Eren. And I'm like, what are you two smoking right now? The guy is like wiping out the entire world. Like there's just no way to reconcile that. And it just felt like Mikasa had to be the character to be the one that ended Eren because she was the one that protected him, right? So it brings that full circle in some way. I don't know if I necessarily expected it to happen in the way it did, and then like, you know, she kisses the head. It's a bit awkward.
Oh man, yeah, that was a lot of. So real quick, off of that, Learman had he wasn't trolling me, but maybe he was. Like he said, wouldn't it be funny though if just Eren wins and all of humanity is wiped out, and that's how it ends? Like, how would you feel, right? Like the rumbling does succeed, and it's like actually that is the point. It's like, oh yeah, ooh, wow.
But it is interesting though, because
It's a bittersweet ending.
Eren,
We'll
when
say
he's
that.
talking to Armin, there's a couple of lines which were very Walter White-esque,
Yeah.
where Armin's like, you did this because you wanted to protect us. Oh, you did this because you saw that Mikasa had to be the one to end you. Da da da. And then Eren's like, no, actually, in truth, like I wanted to see the world end. Like I wanted to see that happen.
I love that line. Like, I'm an idiot who's just given too much power.
Mhm.
God, like that's such a truthful line. Like, so many times, like pieces of fiction try to elevate their characters and their ideals. Like, it's hard. It's a hard thing to do, to bring back your characters and be like, this is the way humanity actually operates. This is at least how it's operated throughout history. And then to have your main character speak the words that most of us think for our leaders or the important people of history. I'm an idiot who was given too much power. I'm just like,
So here's my big question for you both.
devastating, but true.
You're given Eren's power. You could trample the whole world. Do you do it? Don't answer this question.
I'd love to think no, but
Good.
It's
Well,
like,
I mean,
answer.
I think it ties in, right? Like it ties into this whole idea of, as Eren talks about, like everything is kind of predetermined. He's living all of time at the same time and everything. Isn't that part of the reason, like, he was chosen, because he was that idiot that would go do this, right? Like, if you think about it, if Ymir's plan was like, this is what I want, that's the guy.
She chose the dumbest fucking Attack Titan to
she
do
chose
it.
the dumb, determined idiot boy who wanted to see the world burn and put him on the right path to do that.
Isn't, though, the implication that even Ymir probably doesn't know? Like, if Eren doesn't, why would Ymir? I guess I haven't watched the whole thing, but yeah. And I was going to say, there was that one line Eren said again with Armin where he said that Ymir saw Mikasa as the only way to die, and Eren didn't know what Mikasa did, but all he knew is that he had to get to that point,
Right.
and he didn't know what that was. So everything he did was just to get to the point that would kill Ymir.
And that makes him as much of a slave as his father Grisha.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the most shocking thing in this finale. So this whole time, at least I was operating under the assumption that Eren is the one influencing all the previous Attack Titans and maybe all Eldians, right?
Mhm.
He's the one who is feeding his dad only certain memories of his future, and then those devastating lines from the first part of season 4, right? When Grisha's like, "Eren, do I save my wife and do you live?" Because Eren refuses to show him the whole picture,
Right.
and in that moment, you realize Eren doesn't see the whole picture, and which makes his line, "I'm an idiot who's just been given too much power," and you're like, oh my God. He's in the exact same position as everyone who came before him. And even though everyone is operating like Eren is this like almighty thing, he's just as clueless as the rest of them. And that was oof.
I mean, it plays on the idea that we think we're in control, but we're not.
Yeah.
Even the person that's starting
The idea
world,
of free will, yeah.
Yeah, the idea that this person who's controlling something that's destroying most of the world knows what's up and actually doesn't
has
know
no
what's
idea.
Up. Yeah.
He's like he's working toward a vision, and he doesn't know what the outcome of that vision is, which is how his dad was operating, which is how the previous the owl was operating. They're like, ooh, yikes. So
Yeah, tough.
That's weird.
tough rap.
Well,
tough.
I mean,
Tough shit, I guess.
the question I have is, so he says that he knows something about Mikasa, right? Is the implication then that, at least as I gathered it, that he knew, like, he had this point in mind that was like the ultimate ideal, like the Titan power is gone. All I have to do is make sure this one thing happens, which is whatever Mikasa is going to do. And all I know is that that's going to happen. And I have to do, or I don't know what's in between here and there.
Yeah.
And every time well, I guess he knew everything all at once. So I don't know. Anyway, my thought was basically, even if he didn't know what was, basically he knew the outcome, he didn't know the way to get there, but yet he was experiencing. Anyway, I guess I don't know.
He also didn't know like what the consequences of that were, So I think the line that's important there is that he's like you said, right? Everything leads up to this point. I can't see past it, right? And that's direct parallel to his dad, who's like, I got up to killing the Fritz family, the royals. That's his like peak. It's the same thing. It's like a parallel, right? It's a mirror. He gets up to that moment. He's like, I can't see past this. My whole life has been driving to this moment. That's why he's haunted. That's why he becomes like this monster. And same thing with Eren. He's been driving toward this point. He's tried to deviate from it and he can't. He's like, no matter what I do, the path corrects itself. And you realize that Ymir's the one who seems to be like driving this whole thing. At least that's what's implied.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Does his dad die at that point?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
So
Shortly
he can't
shortly
see
after.
past it because that's the point. That
Well,
he
no. So
dies.
he sees himself doing that, murdering the
Yeah.
Fitz family, and then
he dies
shortly after
after
that, he goes and he grabs his son.
and then Eren eats him.
Yeah,
Um,
yum yum
Yeah.
in my tum tum.
Yeah.
right because Eren needs to become the Attack Titan at
Right
that point.
to start the whole process.
Yeah.
So besides Eren dying, most of our characters end up surviving.
Yeah.
There was a moment where we thought Connie and Jean were turning.
Yeah.
they turned
Gabby
turned into
a
Titans.
Titan,
she
yeah.
did, yeah.
All the
And we
parents.
thought that was going to be it, and I definitely was like, oh man, this is like one of those big emotional gut punches. But then it was a kind of a gotcha because the power of the Titans are obviously removed from this world.
Right.
So how did you guys feel about the Jean and Connie thing specifically?
I didn't love that gotcha moment for me just because this show, for the most part, has not walked back stuff, right? Like, there have been these big emotional deaths in every season that have, like, these big implications. So to kind of do that and then walk it back and also, like, reverse some of the stuff, like, Reiner and, like, half of our main characters, right, were Titans and we're pretty much doomed to die in a few years.
Right.
So, like, they're fine, and you kind of get this flashback of they're living out these lives as, like, heroes. Is like, it just feels like, you know, we went for, like, as much happy as possible type of ending, which I didn't love. You know,
For those characters though.
I just think just in general, right? Like, it's interesting that the big implication here is 80% of the world is dead, right? But which is huge and devastating, but, like, how many of the main characters actually died in this battle? Like, really none, right? Like, Eren is the only one that died. Even Levi, right, who were like, well, there's no way this guy can be alive after this, is, like, alive.
I'm so glad he was.
And everything. So every single character who was in that battle, every main character at least, right, is still alive. So that was just kind of like a little cheap to me.
You're absolutely right. Call me a sucker. I'm glad they lived.
Well, I was gonna say with the whole show never doing it, I guess if they're gonna do it one time,
If you're gonna save your guys one time, save it for them.
I know, but at the same time, though, like, the show starts off with, like, such violent and, like, such,
Yeah.
you know, like, high stakes where, like, you know, this character is losing both his mother and father in grotesque and, like, disturbing ways.
And you realize that Eren's the one who saved Bertold and sent the
well, I mean, yeah, one of his
Dina,
last lines is, like,
Dinah to kill his own mom.
right. So I don't know. It does feel kind of weird, and I get that with a story.
But you had to realize
most stories though that you're telling, you want people to walk away with something, and you want it to be somewhat positive. So it makes sense that you wouldn't just end it in doom and gloom and kill everybody.
I will say this though. After that moment in season 4 when Eren's like, I want you all to live long and happy lives, you have to realize most of those guys had plot armor. Like, you know, I think Sasha's supposed to be the one that you're like, wow, I didn't see that coming.
Right.
Like, she's the sacrifice for everyone to live, really. Plot armor in a plot armor way. Jean Jean was my favorite character. And if he died, that was the one that was gonna, like, gut punch me. So him turning into a Titan, like, holding arms with Connie, I was like, wow, they're really gonna do this. It was a gotcha. It definitely was. I can't walk that back. At the same time, though,
You're glad it happened.
I love John and Connie so much that I don't care if it's a gotcha moment. I don't care if it feels unlike the rest of the show. I'm glad they live and they get to live out the rest of their lives.
So
I'm
there's
just happy. I'm
so
like,
a
thank
manga,
God. I don't care.
I just looked this up. A manga's coming out
Oh no.
of Jean and Connie,
Yeah.
and it's just like what they do in their day-to-day
Buddy cop?
lives. Yeah, you cool?
I'd
with
love that.
You literally just said you don't want any more spin-offs or other content around this.
Well, how dare you make me eat
Also,
my
that's a
words.
gotcha. That I didn't look that up, and that's
I was
not.
gonna say, it
you're
didn't sound
clearly
real.
clearly making it up.
But you did get excited.
But you did get excited.
A buddy cop with Jean
Boom.
and Connie. If it was like
Boom.
completely
First
just
show was
comedy,
more Attack on Titan
if
content.
it's completely comedy, well, there's no more Titan, so it would just be Attack.
Well, as we saw in the credits, the after
the
credits,
after credits,
Yeah, but
the
that's the far
future.
future.
it does seem
The
like there's a
future.
cycle here, right? Like
Yeah.
this cycle could potentially repeat itself.
This man with a scarf
Yeah, he had a
And
and
scarf.
his dog.
Yeah,
and his the dog gets powers too.
That's how we get the cart Titan.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought that the after credit, not after, but like the credits with the artwork showing the future of like the gravesite, and then there are like intercuts of like full screens, and you see like Mikasa clearly kind of like in a like a
Casket?
wake type casket thing
Casket.
or whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
and she's dead, and then you see the location of where it is, and they go through the industrial age, they go
yeah.
through like
future
scrapers, and then they get bombed, and then it looks like society is
Because
either
they're on Paradise
reversion-
Island.
because they're all in Paradise Island. So I think that will be. I think the big thing there is it's kind of showing that yes, history will repeat itself, and even when Eren is talking to Armin, he's like, yeah, what's the point of this all and doing this all? Like there's still gonna be conflict.
Well, you can see it, right? Like the thing I was most surprised, I guess not most surprised, but I was interested. Like, oh, this did keep going on. Was the extreme Jaegerists kind of just taking over Paradise Island, and that being like the ruling militarized government, right? Not that I expected it to be different, I guess, but I did think that was like an interesting story choice because I thought most of them were dead by the end, like once they basically made their way through the island.
No.
Yeah, I thought like with Flock dead, you know, like
Sure,
they
but
would
you
be
have-
over.
we have to
but
think
it's
though, like,
interesting.
Eren actually did the rumbling and actually knocked out most of the world.
Yeah.
That's a very persuasive action for people that may not have
Yeah.
been thoughtful of the movement or the idea or whatever. Now suddenly it's like, well, we're the world power. We got to protect ourselves.
Right.
And, like Eren himself, like reset the playing field, right? Like everyone's now kind of level.
Technology wise, yeah.
Technology-wise,
but that's
they're level,
technology.
yeah.
That's not resources though.
Correct.
And
Paradise
Paradise is
had a
probably a lot
Had a
more
lot of the
resources and everything.
But the reason I was okay with that was because then we had our heroes coming back into parody and be like, "Don't fight," like
which clearly fails at some point. Maybe
Well,
it starts for a
no,
while.
it could succeed. It's just human nature is
Yeah,
that there
yeah,
will
yeah.
always be conflict,
right,
right?
yeah.
So I mean, that's honest.
It almost
Right.
seemed like the message was life is conflict, and
Yeah.
that end credit
Fight.
is like there's still fighting going on, but they're building cities, they're advancing. It's
Yeah.
showing that at no point does anybody give up
Yeah,
on life or advancement.
there's a thing in us that pushes forward, even in the face of meaninglessness.
That's the whole thing Zeke says, right? In the
Yeah.
past, right? He's like,
yeah.
you know, at first there was no, he goes into a whole science lesson with Armin. He's like, at first
Love it.
there was nothing, and then, you know, we
Yeah,
live,
yeah, yeah.
we live to multiply. He's like, we live to fuck. essentially.
Yeah, we got our
We have
first
fuck
F word.
machines.
Our
Yeah,
first
yeah.
and last F word.
Well,
was
I
in
feel
this
like there was
episode.
another F word in there
No,
somewhere.
no. I just rewatched this whole thing. English subtitles. That was the first F word. Fuck.
Well, Levi, right?
Was it Levi?
Yeah.
Oh man, he would be the one to.
So do you want a Levi like action figure now?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, weird.
I love that Levi's last thing is being. So do you remember that? It's really random in the earlier part of season 4 when our scouts visit Marley and Liberio,
Right.
and Levi, obviously he's super short, right? He's like barely
remember
like
this,
5'2" or
yeah.
something, and he's walking around, and then this like giant clown looms over his shoulder. It's like, hey, you want a lollipop?
Mhm.
Thinking he's a kid. And then the last shot we see of him is handing out lollipops. I'm like, he became the very thing he feared the most. Like a carny.
I don't
You want some lollipops?
I don't think he feared that. I think
He was so afraid. That's the most afraid you ever see him.
I think though what we see though is like a person that's like kind of at peace.
Oh yeah.
I think they're all at peace, and then I think also you saw the crazy like what your favorite character? What's her face with the crazy?
Oh,
smile?
Yelena.
Yelena, yeah.
Of all the people who should have died,
She's
should have
the-
been her.
Well, but she's like clearly like repenting for what she had done.
Yeah, she does not look happy.
Well, I think
Good.
the reason she cries is because they pick up the baseballs and gloves, which
Yeah,
is
for Zeke.
very much like Zeke. And remember, she was like a Zeke fanatic. She was like, I will carry your babies.
They do such a good job with her when like she's like remembering, and then it cuts back to her in the present. She's like, she remembers what she's trying to accomplish, and it's like, oh
Yeah.
wow, she is all in.
But what about the engineers?
They're gone, dude.
They didn't make.
They
it,
did not
buddy.
make it at all.
They're dead.
Actually, then again, it seems like they got on the boat because we see after they explain that Falco took off on the boat and it exploded, there were a bunch of people on lifeboats.
That's true.
Along with her,
Yeah.
and I think people actually responded to you on our viral, semi-viral, not very viral clip of you being, "What happened to the engineers?" People were like they got onto the boat with the Azamabito.
I would get I would take a spin off with the engineers.
Christian, you're getting a bunch of spin-offs. Aren't you happy?
No,
And they
Not
would
with
just
the
call it
engineers.
they would call it Attack on Engineers.
So it will most likely happen probably in the next 5 years. I'm gonna throw that out there.
Oh, is this are we doing bold predictions for the future of the Attack on
No,
Titan
this isn't a bold
franchise?
prediction. This is factual because this
Oh,
is
facts.
this happens all the time. Somebody in the U.S., some studio is going to pick this up, if not already, for some kind of live action.
Oh, yeah.
It's already got live action. You guys
It's
seen
terrible live action. But,
I'm sure Netflix has done a few live action
Yeah,
to animes.
yeah.
I'm sure they're gonna try with this.
So how do you feel, Krishna? Is your
no,
blood pressure
I
rising?
won't. It's too emotionally heavy to do it again. It just is.
I just don't
if
think
they-
it
if
would
they're
work
gonna-
well for
If
live
they're gonna
action.
if they're gonna reboot this shit, there's no point. And I don't know the way that they ended it. What other story is there to tell? Like what you're gonna tell the same story in space? You're gonna tell the same story as a prequel? Who fucking cares at that point? You got Attack on Titan. I think what I wanted leading up to this finale was them to go all the way, and they did. They literally they swung a home run. They were like, okay, we're gonna pull back as far as we can. I wanted the moment where Eren's like pulling all the way back, and there's like we got the moment with him and Armin as children, right? Like
well,
being
over
like
time, they had all these conversations over time.
exactly,
and
like
he erased his memory every time.
and erases memories and all that stuff. I'm like, there's one more layer to go, and we got that. There's nothing else. From what the story is presented, there's nowhere else to go. That's what I want. When you start a story, you need to finish the story. And Attack on Titan finished the story. There's nothing else to be said.
The best line of the series was Peak when everyone's talking about like the memories they
memories
got,
that
and
were-
she's
yeah.
like,
I wish I had one.
I wish I got one. I didn't get it.
Well, it's because I feel like
Eren.
It was
I
so
feel like
funny.
Peak would have like yelled at him and wanted to like. I mean, she was consistently wanting to murder him, but
Yeah, Peak ended up being my favorite late season character because, I mean, yeah, she was just like very like no nonsense. We're gonna do this thing.
the show does a really good job of what I call the Jaime Lannister effect, where it's introduce a character that you want to die so badly, and then you're rooting for them like nonstop. Reiner, Gabby,
Bertolt.
Annie
Bertolt's interesting
at
because he
one
dies
point.
and you're still rooting for him
Yeah.
even
yeah,
after he's dead.
he kind of stinks. For
And
him.
then I mean the ultimate one is like Eren. Like he's introduced as a character that you're supposed to be rooting for, and then by the end you're like,
Oh, he's the villain.
shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
Nah,
please
I
die.
never rooted for Eren or Armin.
Well, you are Armin is your greatest
Enemy.
adversary in the world. Nothing.
Juna versus Armin.
Yes.
They're both
Okay,
good
you gotta
with Eren.
admit, him crying when he saw Armin's when he saw Aaron's head.
Mhm.
Come on, like he was really annoying. There.
Imagine you saw your best friend's head
in his girlfriend's
in
arms.
his
If I saw
girlfriend's
if everything
arms.
that happened with my best friend was that guy, I would not be crying. I'm just saying.
That's fair.
Ooh.
That is fair.
That guy that would not be my friend. Oh, I
But it is your
killed
friend.
80% of the world because
So if
had
Megatron,
to.
my cat, which is your best friend, decided to get the power of the Titan and trample 80% of this world.
I'd be sad, but I wouldn't go.
Again, I mean, the thing with anime is that the emotional points are supposed to be more over dramatic and
For sure.
over the top.
And they go all out.
They
It's like a
definitely go all out.
musical.
They don't hold
Yeah,
back.
definitely like a
they don't
musical.
hold back.
Or a play or whatever.
I will say this. I wanted to text you guys while I was doing the rewatch that at the very end, I was like, this is all Armin's fault because
He shows him the
they
book.
show a few times
Yeah.
where before Armin shows Eren the book, Eren is a space cadet. He's just staring up the sky, almost brain dead. And Armin's like, hey, look at this book. And Eren's like, oh my God. This is so much fun. And that instills the dream of there are other things that I can't see.
So actually, that's a good point. Like looking at this show as a whole, the show starts with what is it like? This is to you in the future.
2,000 years.
2,000 years. To you, 2,000 years
I thought it was a go.
ago. And then the beginning of, or some part of season 4, it's like to you, 2,000 years in the future.
So who is saying that, and who is it to?
It's Ymir to Ymir. That's where I'm at this point.
I think it's Ymir to Mikasa,
Yeah, actually, that probably makes the most sense.
because Mikasa is the one that ultimately is the thing she uses to get rid of herself.
We thought it was Eren, but it's
Right,
Mikasa.
it's Mikasa.
Yeah.
So this is really the story of Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Doomed
what it ended up
lovers.
being. Yeah, and there's no surprise that, right? Because we always had the weird blind devotion
Mm-hmm.
from Mikasa to Eren. And you always knew it was going to, like you said, right? You always knew it was going to come down to Mikasa having to be the one
Mm-hmm.
because nobody else was as blindly devoted to Eren as she was.
Right.
So you know it had to be her. It's just interesting that in this last episode they made that parallel to Ymir, because Ymir being in love with Fritz, that was a curveball that I thought was introduced in the 12th hour. I didn't get that from our flashback episode in the earlier part of season 4. To me, it was more presented as she was just this like really open personality that was like highly influenced by everything around her,
Yeah.
and had no will of her own. And the whole devotion love part, that felt like all of a sudden introduced in this last episode. And I was like, oh, she did things because she was in love with Fritz for 2,000 years. I'm like, I didn't love that. But maybe that's just, me.
It's just you.
It's just, oh, you loved it.
I didn't love it, but I got it. It makes sense, I think, because of like who she is and her, like how she came to be under Fritz's thumb, if you will.
Yeah, it made sense, but I see Christian's point of like just felt like an element to add super late.
To draw a parallel to her and Mikasa.
Yeah, like they should have put more maybe into that earlier in the show instead of just being like,
Oh, and there it is.
yeah,
I'm like,
it just felt like a we're
button?
the same.
It was a button. Yeah, here's a button.
Yeah,
It didn't feel like it was the one piece of information that made the whole
Yeah.
thing make
It was
sense.
convenient. Yeah.
No, I'm saying it didn't feel like that, because I feel like that's a lot of what makes a great reveal good, right? It's that last piece that then you go, oh, everything that
Makes
I've just
sense.
watched makes so much sense.
To June's point, it would have been if there was some kind of foreshadowing with it. Ymir's interesting because of how important she ended up being late. Maybe she should have been introduced far earlier than she was. She only appeared in this 4th season, right? And I know the 4th season is dragged out for about 1,000 years.
Yeah,
2000.
So it does.
the whole of Ymir's
existence.
reign.
Oh wow. Good. Yeah. No, you're right.
But I mean, again, this show was always presented as a big mystery box of like season 1 is the walls, beyond the walls, beyond the walls, beyond the physical realm.
Actually, what are Titans? Like, even what are Titans? They didn't
Yeah,
know what Titans
yeah.
are.
Like the thing was mystery on mystery on mystery. So it makes sense that like it would take a while to get to the Ymir point.
Yeah. It just felt like the romance part, not the romance, but like the devotion part was just so like 12th hour. Here it is. I didn't see it coming, and it felt cheap. I understand. It makes sense if you look at it through Mikasa. totally makes sense. I'm
Yeah.
like, if she was using Mikasa, and maybe on like, that's why I need to watch it again, because on a rewatch, you're like, if Mikasa is, and she's been that, like her devotion to Eren, that's not a 12th hour thing. That's been there from
Day one.
Day
the,
one, yeah.
the very beginning. Why are you crying, Eren? That's like the first scene,
Yeah.
right? Like
Is
it's
her-
there from the very beginning. So if it's on a rewatch, if I can see that, if it's like, if that's strong enough, the Ymir Mikasa connection, then it's like, okay, I can understand and deal with it.
I'm curious if was that even a question as to why she was doing all of this? Like, were you looking for an answer, or the fact that there even was an answer is what's buggy?
I think the answer, I would be content with not having an answer, because to me, before it was she is in love with King Fritz. It was just that she's just like this open personality. Like, even when Fritz invades and they're like, who killed the pig? And everyone points to Ymir. And Ymir's like, okay, yeah, I did it. Right? To me, that was like, she's just like
A yes
this
person.
open book. Yes.
Mhm.
Like, she almost has like no will of her own. And then
I think though, for like general audiences, that's a harder thing to
It is.
swallow
Absolutely.
than like somebody being in love.
I don't, yeah.
I feel like that's just easier to like. Okay, I get that, as opposed to
Yeah.
being a yes person.
Being not a person.
Well, yeah, but how do you get
Like a
2,000 years of dedicated maniacal maneuvering if you don't have a will?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point.
What is will?
Yeah, and
Exactly.
and that's what was brilliant in the first part of season 4 was that Eren was supposed to be her will. Like, she didn't have a will; she was looking for someone to carry out her will. And I guess that's the twist, right? She did have her own will. She willed everything.
Yeah, she's the whole reason
Yeah.
we got to this point.
Yeah, that's processing. One word
There you
impression.
go.
Still processing.
Let's speaking of processing, let's go back and look at the crazy qualifiers that we needed in order for us to
These are actually hilarious.
this to say that this was actually a good show or not. We'll start with Krishna, as always. Krishna said, Eren has to die. He can't live. But maybe it would make sense if he did.
Yeah, I want to know what you meant by that.
I have no idea. Conveniently, but yeah, no, he definitely have to die. I think that was clear. No surprise there, and I'm glad he did die. You know,
Was his death epic enough for you guys?
No. It was
yeah,
creepy.
no, it was.
It's creepy.
It was, yeah. The aftermath of it was a little strange.
Right.
Mikasa just carrying around his head.
Yeah.
Very anime. But I'm glad he died. Fuck that guy.
Fair. Yeah.
I had said, Levi has to live. I'm attached. It's what I want.
Yes, our qualifiers are so far 2 for 2.
It's pretty good, actually.
What's that? June?
And then Arjun says, don't undo what they did. Let the people stay dead. To be fair, nobody
Oh.
that had died previous to this
That's true.
Finale.
Everyone stayed dead.
stayed dead.
But the undoing part was the Titan.
Gene
only
and
the Titan
Connie.
part though,
Yeah.
which they didn't actually die.
It's true.
So
They just
We're just
changed
Titans.
form.
They just
and
changed
then
it
changed back.
to
Yeah.
human.
Yeah.
Which we're okay with that.
We can
right?
get, so we're going to say 3 for 3.
And
Yeah, I'm
even
gonna
though
say
they're
3 for 3.
alive, there is surely some intestinal tract damage and whatnot, internal damage from that sizing and resizing.
Sure. Well,
Yeah.
also what's also kind of weird though is like they turned into these Titans, right? And then the dummy Titans aren't like the humanoid controlling the bigger Titan, and then you pull out, and then you're still in your clothes. It's you turn into a big Titan. So why are they still dressed when they turn back into humans?
Oh, no logic.
And also, Titans don't have genitals, do they?
They
no,
don't.
they're
No.
I wonder if
genitalist.
they got them back.
You keep wondering, I guess.
Zeke's
That's
euthanization
the
program. Where
spin-off I want to see.
Let's also look at bold predictions revisited. We'll start with Krishna's. He had 2. Actually, everyone had 2.
it's because we had like some at the end of season 3 for the entirety of season 4, or
Oh,
like
gotcha.
or the end of season 4 part 2,
Mm-hmm.
and then we also had ones at the end of the one in March for the
Gotcha.
end.
Okay, so the first one is from season 3.
So from season 4 part 2.
Okay. So Krishna said, Mikasa's going to have a hard time killing Eren, and in a jealous rage over a lover, Mikasa will kill. So I think basically you were saying that like she will have a hard time killing.
I know what it was. I thought Eren was the father of Historia's child, and she was going to find that out
and then kill him.
Kill Eren in a jealous rage because Historia's child is Eren's child.
So close.
That didn't quite.
That would have been a very different show than what we had just watched.
The story just really got sidelined.
I am
by the end.
shocked
Big
that
time.
didn't happen, to be totally honest.
But Historia did get all of the future memories, at least.
Yep.
Is what
She
she
did.
wrote to Armin
Right.
and crew. And then your other one was discover we're not on Earth, but a moon called Titan, and it's an origin story for humans on Earth.
Could happen.
Still could technically
We never say we're on Earth.
We also never see the sun.
No, we do.
Yeah, we do. So Christian, you lose. I said mostly flashbacks. Eren knocks up Historia and through the jealous rage, but the baby seeks revenge and the cycle restarts. There's also going to be a movie. I was kind of right about the movie.
Wait, what movie?
Well, this last episode was an hour 25. This could
No,
be
it's
this
an
could go.
episode.
This could be shown in a theater,
And the cycle
It's true.
restarts.
and the cycle
Yeah.
restarts.
Would you, if they like released this final part as a movie in theaters, would you go and see it?
I'm not gonna lie. The only way is if
Probably.
it was an English dub, not sub.
I would need an
That
sub.
side, yeah. That's
I hate the English dub so much.
I mean, my reasoning though
Other
is because
than
on a
Erwin.
movie screen reading that I get a headache.
Oh, that's
Like
fair.
I get like
Oh, that's
sick, so
fair.
I just couldn't do it on that
Yeah,
size
yeah,
screen.
yeah.
And then I also said to fill this last part, we'll get retelling from different perspectives.
Oh, which kind of happened. We got
2 seconds of it.
We got
A little more than
Armin.
that.
We got Eren.
Yeah.
We got and then a little bit of our other POV characters like
Yeah.
Raina,
Raina.
Jean, Connie. Even Raina's mom has like
Mhm.
a quick
Thing of like why she was okay with him. Yeah.
renouncing.
yeah. Juno, you said flashbacks from Eren's perspective. We got that.
We got flash forwards.
Flash sideways.
Yeah. We got something.
We got the Flash. The Flash. And then you said we are going to go full weird and get time travel. There's no other way to finish in 10 episodes.
That's when we still thought there was going to be like
10 episodes.
multiple episodes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, you were right. We got full weird in terms of time travel.
Definitely got time travel.
So-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like time consciousness.
Yeah. Things did not move in a linear fashion.
No,
Not even a little bit. Now, here's the thing that kind of bums me out. We have no more bold predictions to give
Correct.
because
Thank God.
it's over.
Unless we want to give our bold predictions for the future of the Attack on Titan franchise.
No, it's over.
Yeah, the Attack on Titan universe. What's to come?
Nothing.
Video
It's done.
games.
It's over.
I mean, trying to think of like the last time something this big anime-wise hit the world and lasted this long and
One Piece is still going.
nothing.
Dragon Ball is still going.
But they
all
ended.
all
well,
ones
Dragon,
that could end.
Dragon
are
Ball
still
Z.
going.
Dragon Ball Z did end for a long time,
Yeah.
and then it came back.
Right, but it never reached this kind of level of worldwide phenomenon.
Dragon Ball Z is pretty big.
No, but became
But it
big
ended
through its
before
reruns.
That's
it
true.
got-
It
Right,
was
right,
like
right.
this
Got
is
big, if
live
that
in
makes
the
sense.
moment.
That's fair.
Worldwide, so many
Yeah.
people care about
My
this
Hero
thing.
Academia is pretty big, and there's
still
a
didn't
big,
hit this
is
level,
a big
did
world.
it?
It's pretty like it's a worldwide
Yeah.
phenomenon.
But it's not done.
it's not
not-
done.
it's not
It's
done.
not.
There you
It's still
go. That's
going.
what I'm saying. Something
The
done.
both the manga and the anime are still going.
Right. So that's what I'm saying.
Full Metal
I can't
Alchemist?
think of
they
anything
ended
this
that.
level.
Full Metal Alchemist
ended it.
wasn't as big as Attack on Titan,
No.
and like that one's interesting because when they start, like many of these animes, when they start the anime, the manga wasn't finished, and then the anime surpassed the manga, and it became its own thing, and it got really weird, and people hated it.
Right.
And then
They redid it.
and then when the manga ended, they're finally like, okay, we're gonna redo it and make it
just
accurate.
the manga.
Yeah.
So there's two versions of one anime.
No, I know that.
yeah.
Full
But
Metal Alchemist and
fascinating.
Full Metal Alchemist
Fascinating.
Brotherhood, and Brotherhood is the more accepted.
That's the one I've
the
seen.
accepted
Yeah.
one.
However, as I've never seen either of them, I did see a YouTube video about how both of them made stupid mistakes and suck and don't follow the anime. But
Don't
in
follow the
different
manga.
ways. Or the manga.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, which one? Which one?
Full
Both
Metal.
Full Metal. Like you said, the first one
Yep.
does something right about how there's some sort of ritual where he loses his arm or something.
Well,
I
yeah,
don't
the
know.
first iteration completely goes off the rails.
Because it just stopped.
Because
There was no more
manga.
manga,
No,
so they
no.
went in their own direction.
I think that one does it right, but then the rest of the series is all messed up. But then the new one,
Fixes
this person was complaining and saying that they messed up the whole best part of the manga in the new Brotherhood.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So
Well-
I don't know. I don't know beyond that. Something about how they removed all the tension and the suspense of it.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Well,
Anyway, I don't know
yeah,
Well,
cannot comment.
That gets me to my big point.
Oh.
that this is the lost of anime.
Well, this is the final question that has to be answered here.
Should there be more?
No.
Was it good?
Yes.
I don't know. Was it?
Krishna,
Oh.
was Attack on Titan the finale good?
Still processing,
That's not an answer.
but yes, it was good. I wanted them to go big. They definitely went big. I'm not sure if I'm a fan of all the little details, but I wanted them to swing big. They swung big. Something that was pulling out, something that was zooming out each season. They needed a final zoom out for this finale. They did that. You knew it was going to go to that ridiculous level that a lot of animes do. For this one, there was a payoff for me because it still stayed true to the characters. There were some gotcha moments. They still worked for me. It's devastating to have, like, here's the thing, right? A lot of us were conflicted about our main character, Eren, and he turns out at the end to be nothing more than an idiot with power. I mean, like, bravo. Like, yes, in some ways they made him this sort of messiah character. In another way, from his own mouth, he's an idiot with power, right? And I think that's such a perfect way to depict someone who does something very important in history, right? From one perspective, they're just lucking into this thing, and then from another perspective, yeah, they did something truly incredible. Whether they were fully in control or not is almost irrelevant. So there's still a lot to unpack, and I'm gonna need to rewatch this finale at least one more time. But my initial impression is yes, it was good. Arjuna, was Attack on Titan the final finale, season 4, chapters 3, 4, and 5, good?
Despite Armin being alive at the end of this show, which
fucking
should have
A.
actually been my qualifier. Now that I think about it,
Yes.
Armin must die.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I thought it was a conclusion to the story that we have spent many hours talking about on here, and I think it ended the way it didn't feel wrong. Why? It didn't feel wrong in terms of just there are things I think to nitpick. There are things where it's like, yeah, this doesn't feel great, but I think, like, the show was never perfect for me, at least. I thought there was a lot of good. I thought there was some stuff that was like, like the whole 4th season in general, maybe because it was cut up so much, it was probably like my least favorite when I look at it as a whole, just because I think there's obviously the big time jump. You're changing your POV. You're introducing a bunch of new characters at the beginning of season 4.
Change
Whole
animation
other
studios.
wars.
Yeah. There's a new animation
Animation.
studio. Yeah, so there's
Oh,
a
great
lot.
point.
There's a lot of differences there that, like, threw me off a little bit too, especially because, like, the first 3 seasons are all in paradise, right? Like, it's all with these characters. It's opening up the world, and then it just felt like we, like, open the world, and then it's like
The world.
we open
the entire
thing.
world,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Well, but though, from opening the entire world, the next level was the path,
yeah.
Yeah.
and then nothing else after that.
Right. So, yeah, but it was good. That's why it's kind of a relief for me. Like, now that it's over, like, it felt like if it's continued just to get dragged on, like, I'd be like, all right, like, here we go. Like,
What
here's
else is there
another
to say
thing.
at this
Yeah,
point? It's
exactly.
like, no, we've said
It
all
It
we
sounds
need
like
to
you've
say.
learned.
Learned what?
So I remember back in the day, you were a big CW Arrowverse fan
Yeah.
of that never-ending clusterfuck.
I did drop it.
Thank
though.
God,
Yeah,
yeah,
you
you
did.
did drop
You
it.
did.
But that's what I'm
Walking
saying.
Dead.
Like it sounds like
What?
you learned.
Walking Dead.
Oh yeah, I dropped that too.
You dropped that one, yeah.
I got to natural points of conclusion where I was like, okay, I think I'm good
it's done.
here.
Yeah.
Like for The Walking Dead, I went to the end of the war, like the War of Negan, and then spoiler alert for those who haven't watched Walking Dead,
No,
he
don't say
lets Negan live, and I'm just like, all right, I'm done. Like this is stupid.
Yeah,
Like we literally just
that
spent
would-
3 seasons with
that
this
would
guy.
do
He like
it.
brutally killed your best friend, and you're like, nah, we gotta let him live. I was like, okay, it's good.
Why?
And then for
Fuck.
the Arrowverse, we finally got to Crisis, and it was not good. And I was just like, all right, well, I think I've wasted enough time on this.
You
And
sound that
and
sounds
Arrow
like
is like actually over now. So I
Yeah.
was like, okay, we can just.
sounds like a lot of Marvel fans.
You
after
know what?
Endgame.
You know what? A good.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say a good comparison would be Endgame.
Yeah.
Perfect ending to
Something
a
that should have
story.
ended, yeah.
And that's what this feels like for Attack on Titan.
Right.
There's nothing else to say, and anything
Except
else you
the
could
Connie
say
and
would
Jean
ruin it.
story that you want.
No, that's a joke.
Okay.
It's like a postcard, art.
I'm gonna write it for you.
I would
little-
love to
little
see that.
fan
I would
fiction.
read it.
Yeah.
Anything
Connie
you write,
wraps his arms around Jean and kisses his.
Did you guys think when Armin and Eren in one of the flashbacks
Yes.
hugged that they were
I
gonna?
think we all thought
Little
it.
kiss.
Yeah, I was like, well, that would explain.
Oh, I was like,
a
wow,
lot.
cool. Okay, I see that. I
Yeah.
see.
I can see
I
it, yeah.
understand now a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know?
Makes a
Yeah.
lot more sense.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I was almost shocked they didn't. Only because I don't know, that would have been a very interesting, like, in this world, this really brutal world,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to bring that in would have been just, I guess, another curveball from the 12th hour. I
Yeah.
don't know if it would have fit actually that well now that I think about it. But even so, it would have made sense. The way that it's viewed in that kind of a world that's militaristic.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, actually repressed sexuality
Yeah.
has
Never
led
mind.
to, many problem or two. So, yeah, why not? Fuck it.
Ravi, was the Attack on Titan finale, final part, no more parts after this. This is it. The big tamale, the ending.
Chef's kiss.
Good.
Yes, it was good.
Really?
Yeah, of course it was.
Oh, thank God. I'm relieved.
Why did you think I would say no?
I think I was
don't
the most.
know.
I was the closest to saying no.
Arjuna's a no,
I
right?
think
I said yes.
Yeah, no, I'm kidding.
I think the show ended in a predictable way for sure, but I think they added enough elements in there to kind of add to the
Make you think.
not to make you think, but the lore of this world and everything. And then I think the other thing that was kind of nice to add to it to also show kind of the brutality and not necessarily say, oh, everything's happy-go-lucky, is that the credits and like showing that, yes, war will return multiple times in the future. And there is nothing, even though there's this crazy magical thing with these titans and these weird powers and science that's magic-based or whatever, even though they removed all of that, the fact that humans are going to be humans.
And the cycle could start again, right?
The
Where you have the
cycle could
tree and
start
everything.
again.
So the Titans are
Yeah.
probably coming back in some way, shape, or form.
I have a feeling the way that the technology built up, that was probably exactly 2,000 years into the future of that point. So if you think about it, that 2,000 to 2,000 years in the future, it's almost like, please don't repeat our mistakes. Nope, too bad. You're gonna
Yeah,
repeat it.
repeat. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
possibly.
that's that's the most human thing to do. It's very honest.
It's because they didn't attack the problem from the root,
The Titans. Wait.
and then
You just
the tree remained
right.
because the roots were still there. The root of the problem, the tree.
the actual message of this entire show is to cut all the trees down.
Yeah, I think it's deforestation.
Yep.
Is the answer.
I thought it was about
Trees will
climate
kill us
change.
all.
That's probably elements in there. Actually, with Sasha, her whole thing could be not climate change, but her whole thing was like people are moving in and they're taking over, they're cutting down forests to create farmland because of the population moving in. Because they lost the whole wall.
Right.
That was
Yeah.
a really interesting part as well. Like
Yeah.
Sasha, her dad being like, "We adapt or we become savages." And Sasha's like, "That's why I gotta eat all the time. I'm hungry because they're taking our fucking land." It was very like psychological in that way.
I was surprised for the finale how many times I laughed. Like there were just like a sneaky amount of jokes.
They were,
Like
yeah.
Zeke being like, "You, Levi, honey, that's for you to kill me."
I know you want to see me. I don't want to
I
see
want
you.
to see you, but go ahead, behead me. I'm ready to die.
Oh man, Zeke. I mean, that was
Well, Zeke
You're right,
always
that
in
was
his
kinda
human
weird.
form was always kind of this weird goof.
goofy.
yeah,
yeah.
he's like he's
You can't blame the dude.
Yeah,
I mean,
he looks.
had a-
all, he's truly
he had
looks
an
like Grisha
abnormal
and- yeah.
childhood.
Yeah, I mean he's a weird.
Just a bit.
It's just funny, like him appearing and like his like half body, and he's just like you.
Makes you wonder. One thing that we sort of we haven't touched on is it's very anime, but like, oh my god, Eren's bringing back all the forms of all the 9 Titans. So you're fighting 8 million different forms of all the 9. But the fact that only the personas that have interacted with our main characters turn on the So it was
They
like a
even
civil war.
they even missed one though. They missed the original Jaw Titan that we had in the series, who was Historia's friend. That was part of the.
Nope,
the
she was
script.
there.
Oh yeah,
She was there.
Jenna or
She was
whatever.
Ymir
Oh,
was there.
I didn't-
She was in the
I didn't-
background.
She's
She
not
was there.
memorable because she has no face armor.
Mm.
So she's jumping around, but she's like.
But
the
she was
most-
on the path, so was she?
Yeah, she was.
Yeah,
Oh,
She
I
was
missed
in the
that.
background. Yeah.
yeah.
They really just put her to the back.
Actually, her character is the first one that you sees the paths in the story. So in her flashback, after she eats Marcel,
Yeah.
she's like wakes up as a human and she just sees the paths, and her name's Ymir. Like
It's interesting.
she's the first character you're like, oh, we're actually us as the audience are seeing the paths.
I remember reading
Yeah.
like a theory a long time ago that said like that Ymir was actually a reincarnation of the
The
original
Ymir.
Ymir.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
The idea where all the townspeople are like, she's the one who stole the
Right.
pig.
Yep.
And then in her story, like she's the one who convinced us that she was Ymir. It's the same. It's the parallel thing.
Yeah.
So it's again,
Makes
history
sense.
repeats itself. Humans are stupid. Blah blah blah.
I mean, Zeke said it best. What are you gonna do? Go back out there and help continue the species? Why?
Yeah.
You know what? I have
Right,
a new
yeah.
bold prediction. Disney will make a live action adaptation because they saw the finale and they're like, look how many toys we can make with all the different Titans.
all the naked titans. That's no
They're like, look how many versions there are. Toy.
Republicans would have a field day about Disney going woke.
Yeah. No, let's not go there.
You have giant naked humanoids eating each other.
Hey, you know what? You know what? The maybe the best thing. No, I'm not going there. Never mind. Push through.
And that's going to do us for us here in Was It Good. Thank you, as always, for tuning in for our Attack on Titan finale.
Final finale.
Final finale.
It's
the
done.
last
No
the
more.
last one. No more. As always, you can find us on Twitter at Was It Good, on TikTok and Instagram at Was It Good Pod. Full episodes on YouTube.com/Was It Good. I have no idea what we're doing next.
Oh, probably Napoleon is my guess for the next one.
That does not come out until well later this month.
2 weeks.
Yeah, so there might be
probably our
something
next one.
before then, but we'll see. Anyway, follow us on the socials to see what we do next. Till then, bye-bye.
Pasta la vista.
Baby. Wait, pasta?